All right.
Recording right
What you
now.
got? What you
So
gonna show for us today, Danielle?
we're gonna talk about lip sync, dialogue, and things like that. I'm gonna try to go really fast over the notes that I have here, so I can actually get to do something. So if you can help me go with the time, if I go beyond half an hour for the.
Yeah,
For,
I give you cues.
all right, perfect.
Throughout. Yeah.
All right, let's go a little bit quick, and then let's talk about syncing the audio with your animation on the mouse shapes, on the dialogue scenes, right? So the first note that I have is most of the things I'm gonna say are obviously on books, and especially Animator's Survival Kit. You can find all the information. But what I'm gonna show you guys is things that are not in that book, specifically things that I gather from experience over the years. So, um, okay, how do you sync the mouth to the sound waves? Normally, you have the sound wave on your program of choosing, whether it's Maya or Quill or whatever 2D animation program or whatever. And you can see the waves over here. You can see when, especially the contrast between consonants and vowels. That's the most important thing that we need to sync. So that's the thing that needs to read on the screen that really syncs well. But there is a general rule that when you play back, uh, on your animation, you don't want to match it exactly on the frame. Like let's say this frame is the consonant and this frame is the vowel, the mouth open, right? So normally what we do in animation is make this a little bit early, right? At least for a frame or maybe sometimes two frames. Or maybe sometimes we give this transition one frame in between, normally favoring the consonant. So the mouth, as a general rule, the mouth is open before the actual sound comes in on the wave. Does that make sense? So it's a
Yeah.
general.
The reason is because that's what happens in real life, right?
Yeah, you see the visuals before you hear the
Yeah.
sound. That's kind of a general rule in real life and also in movies. And also, it's like your brain. Your brain is a little bit faster reading the visual on your eyes than
Yeah, I
the
remember back
sound.
in the Maya days, I would animate to the waveform and then I shift everything 2 frames back.
Yeah, two
I used
frames
to
or
animate
one
like that.
frame,
Yeah, yeah.
But the important thing is to feel the contrast between the vowel and the consonant. This is the next topic. Consonant and vowels, they need to feel. There need to be a contrast between them, right? And the way I like to see it is a consonant is always like an anticipation, and the vowel is always like an overshoot in your animation, right? So you have your consonant here, your mouth closed, whatever consonant it is, and you anticipate the vowel. You go up normally, so the mouth normally sometimes it goes like literally goes up in the face, and then boom, we got the thing called the pop, right? The pop is when you actually pop the mouth open to represent the vowel, and then that pop comes with a cushion normally, and it's an over the first frame is normally an overshoot, and then cushions back to a more relaxed position, right? And this is very important to keep that flow and get those pops on the animation on the lip sync, right?
Yeah, I
Uh,
think conceptually, I think it would help if you show the thing again, the sketch that you just had. Um, I think if you have a like an example word, is it like Sam or something? Like that we can really see what's going to happen. Because
yeah,
I think consonant and vowel might be a little bit abstract. So if we can find like a word you're trying to visualize, I think that would be super helpful.
oh yeah, I will have
All right,
practical moments,
awesome.
but yeah, consonant. Everybody knows what's a consonant, right? That's a P, M, K,
Yeah,
S. Everybody
yeah,
knows
we
what
do.
consonants are. Everybody knows what vowels are, right? So the important thing is to analyze your dialogue and find where the accents are on the flow, right? So let's hear this dialogue right here.
I'm really sorry that you got so freaked out, okay?
Okay. So what I normally try to do mentally, I don't normally do all these notes when I work, but I try to mentally do this. And at the beginning, when I was a student, I did this a lot. This kind of flow charts, kind of analyzing the rhythm of the dialogue, really listening to the track, really listening to the actor playing the reading the line and figuring out where are the accents, right? And also where are the moments where the pop happens. These little lines represents the pop. Oop. So this is the where I figured that the pops are gonna happen more or less. So I r- so when I figure out that the actress really elongates the R. So there is a long moment of a U shape. Oh, really sorry. So sorry, that would be my first pop, I think. So the contrast between the consonant and the vowel will be pretty important here. And then after sorry, I feel like the actor speaks pretty fast that you get so freaked out. Okay, so that's a new uh, peak here in the accent, right? But there's a couple of little peaks. There's a couple of little moments where there's an important contrast between consonant and vowel. Got and freaked out. Actually, it's kind of the combination of these two. Tout. So let's listen to it again.
I'm really sorry that you got so freaked out, okay?
Yeah, these two are very small, very little, and that's why I drew the flow line. I drew it kind of lower because there's a small contrast here. We're gonna do a contrast in this, but it's gonna be much smaller than the contrast here and the contrast here. So we'll see
Yeah,
that when I go into the practice. But
I,
I think it's really important to really think this out.
I think what's really interesting here, what you have in the curve, is the area where it's like that you got that you. Like I feel like when I was studying animation, one of the most made mistakes is to accentuate every vowel,
Exactly,
right?
and that's not gonna be my next point actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry,
No,
sorry.
no, no. But you're right. No, keep going, keep going. You're right.
Yeah, no, no. If you cover it, it's fine. But I'm always surprised, like how when you actually speak it out, right? Sorry that you got. Then you notice that your jaw doesn't quite move when you say that you. It
Exactly.
almost stays like half open, right? So it's
Hmm.
interesting how like
This is
yeah,
what I
like you
call this
tend
is what I call transitional words. So this is the accent. Sorry that you got. So
to.
so all the stuff here in the middle is kind of a transitional words that, and that's why I drew the line like that. It's like a, and the next important accent is here. Sorry that you got so freaked out. Okay, so that's very exaggerated way to see it, but that's how you have to think when you analyze your dialogue. You have to figure out where is the music, where are
Can you play it one more time?
where are the beats of the music. You know, every music has some beats, right? So listen.
I'm really sorry that you got so freaked out, okay?
Yeah.
I'm really sorry that you got so freaked out. Okay, so no, it's so you gotta figure out that musicality, and especially this is very important. And yeah, it's kind of like it's kind of anticipating sorry, and sorry is kind of like the kickoff for the next fast talking, right? So when you fast talk, it's very important to simplify, and that's my next point here. Simplify. It takes a long time to really understand this concept, but it's like Goro said, like sometimes you have to forget about try to accentuate every single consonant plus vowel group. Basically, it's what it's called a syllable, right? Broccoli. So technically, it's three syllables, right? But when you actually say it, it's broccoli. So you actually open the mouth once and that's it, and you close it. So the way I would animate this is I would maybe use this shape, and then maybe let's duplicate it and make more like almost like a U shape. Like a U shape is always a little bit like going forward, like a smaller. So from here, from the B, we would go to this, and then maybe here opens up. So actually, the B could be really like closer to the U. Make it smaller. Bra. And then from here to here is transitional. So we're gonna find some sort of in between. It's kind of transitioning slowly into broccoli. And even we have this other transition here is like an automatic in between these two. And normally when I do it Maya, because Maya you can actually do automatic in betweens, right? You can transition and interpolate. Actually, the ah would have a little bit of overshoot, and then come back to a more relaxed version. Cool. And then in the transition here, what I would do is change this one and draw. I mean, if I'm drawing, uh, the L. So basically, the tongue coming up on the top of the mouth. How do you call that? The top of the mouth.
I actually don't know.
Anyway, the tongue comes up and pops out at the end of the word broccoli, and it's simple, right? But that's the way we actually talk, right? And this you get this by really analyzing live action and really go slowly frame by frame. And simplification is really like an important part, especially when you have this fast action, fast talking moments, right? And the last bit here of tips that I want to share before I go into actually doing something, it's the mouth corners. Very important to realize that they normally go from wide to narrow depending on the phonemes of the sound that we are doing. But it's really important to keep in mind that the corners move. They move in arcs. So we go from a wide to a narrow. We don't go in a straight line. We always do a curve to go from wide to narrow shape. You know, and it's really like it took me a long time to realize this working in CG for a long time, because when you pose this in CG, the wide, and then you pose the narrow, automatically transitions like this, like very linearly. But then you have to kind of tweak the animation so the transition becomes more a circle, right? Very
Is there
important.
like a
So you
sorry?
from serious to smiling, you don't go like this. You don't go. You go doing a little bit of a circle until you get it to the smile from this, and the same for the lip sync. Okay, really important to keep that in mind. So these are
Faith, you had a question?
yeah.
Oh
Sorry.
yeah. So no, it's fine. Is there like a circular muscle around that area that forces it to kind of pivot like that, or I don't know. I'm just
This
wondering.
well, this is there's no like a scientific reason. I don't think it's just that
Hmm.
animation wise, it just looks better.
Gotcha.
It looks more appealing, and everything in the human body moves in an arc, anyways. When you animate any body part or any, it's normally a general rule to keep things more in an arc. But it's especially true when you do the lip sync to avoid mouth corners to move in a linear fashion.
Hmm.
It will, and if you exaggerate that, it will be more appealing, visually appealing. And it's kind of a general rule for animation, right? It doesn't. It's not based on anything scientific or realistic per
Hmm.
se. If you look at a real person talking, probably won't do this arc, this really exaggerated arc. But in animation, it does look better, and it's something that it makes a difference.
Hmm.
That's probably why if you just use blend shapes, it doesn't look very good, and that's why they changed it to like real facial rigs where you have full control over the movement, right? Because back in the days it was just linear from one shape to another,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And it was almost impossible to actually make that arc because it was just shape to shape, like back, like let's say like 15 years ago, you know.
Oh, actually, I went really fast. It's only 17 past.
Yeah,
So
that's good.
good. More
More
time for
time.
this. More time for the actual practice. I'm just gonna use a regular eye shape just for this one. Any questions before I get to do some of this stuff?
That arc tip was really helpful. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's really help a lot with my CG animation. So let's bring back that text that I had over here. My notes.
Are you actually gonna cover the layer structure? Because I know the way you work with you have all the shapes and you create them along the way on the same layer. But are you gonna cover that, or if not, you could quickly elaborate how you
Yeah,
work in the shapes and stuff like that.
yeah. Let me put this stuff here so I can always see it. And yeah, let's just keep that always on. I think that's a good idea. Okay, so let's go to the way I organize for this particular character from the dinosaur scene. I had a head group, which is basically the one that I'm going to use for the acting, the actual puppeteering. It doesn't have to be puppeteering. You can always animate just with the gimbal, whatever. And then under that, I have the actual geometry, but all of the geometry is in a folder, so I can divide things into separate places, separate pieces. The hair can be animated separately, the eyes can be animated separately, etc. And here I have two libraries, a mouth library and the eyes library, and then I'm gonna have a separate layer just for the animation of the mouth. Um, so we're gonna start with A. I'm really sorry. So I'm gonna start with the A shape. I'm just gonna get this. We're not gonna change the acting. It's gonna be always frowning, so I'll be fine. And let's get this guy and put it in the layer mouth. And the way I do this is I have a selection here. I select the layer that I want, and then I click on copy selection to current frame. So that's what it does is paste the selection on your current frame and also on your current layer, which is helpful if you want to move things from one layer to the other. So now I have a duplicate, yeah. So let's get rid of this duplicate here. In the library, I don't need to have all of that. But sorry, I forgot. The other way that I work is not. It's not like that. Sorry. The way that I work is that I have this library. I copy all of this stuff, and I paste it here on the mouth animation layer. Paste. So I can just hide this one. I don't really need to see it all the time. And on the animation layer, I have all the library available to me. So if I want to go into, okay,
I'm really sorry that you.
so let's go into the, I'm going to build the U shape, right? So we have a new frame here. Duplicate. And the reason I do duplicate is because doing duplicate, I get the library coming with me in the next frame, in this frame that I'm going to work right now. So I can get rid of this one. And now it's going to be a U shape. So I have a U shape more or less built here. And what I do is, instead of grabbing it and take it away from there, I grab it with a duplicate, with a left trigger. And the reason I do that is because if I need to do a new pose later, I still have my clean version there just in case. And this generates a lot of geometry, obviously, but what's gonna happen later is whenever I finish the animation, I'm just gonna grab all of this stuff and just delete it. But for when I'm working, it's good to have this always with you on every frame that you are working on. So
You're
this is
20 minutes now.
all right. This is a U shape. It's not very good U shape. Let me show you how I did these shapes. This is basically ellipse brush like that, and then distorted massively with the grab tool. Actually, these broken areas here can be a little bit fixed with optimization tool. You can fix some of this broken stuff. But yeah, I use grab tool a lot to kind of get the shapes that I really want to get there. And I'm gonna try to get this U a little smaller. Just gonna get this. It's just a little bit broken there, but that's okay. And the teeth obviously need to be hidden there. So we have a U shape here.
Really sorry.
Sorry. Okay, let's do the S first. It's gonna be this one, I think. Actually, I need to create a new keyframe, and the S is gonna be here. And notice that I try to keep the S also with the same acting. This is something that I didn't talk about before, but the mouse shape also has a acting kind of factor to bear in mind, which is basically the height of the mouth corners, right? If the mouth corners are high, it's a smile. If the mouth corners are down, it's a frown. It's more like a angry, sad. So
Can you turn on the faint wireframe, the simple wireframe, just so we can see the
yeah.
picture? Yeah.
Also, I don't like this too much, but it's okay. Let's just make sure that we can see the actual black on the U shape. It's really important to see that.
Sorry.
And then sorry, so we're gonna make a contrast here between the S and the O. So I'm building quickly the shapes, and I'm not worried about in-betweens at all. I'm gonna make sure the timing is right. That's my first step normally. So for the O shape, I'm gonna grab that one. I think that's a good O. Flipping is a very important thing to do to see if it feels right, the transition. Okay, maybe the transition here, it's okay, but it looks like the top lip is going up, and I don't want that. I want the top lip to also go down on this vowel. So I'm gonna move the whole mouth down to make sure that it feels right, like saw, saw. I try to feel it out if the contrast is working. Saw, saw. Okay, so that feels okay. Let's just make this duplicate here to connect it with the skin. And notice how the jaw goes down a lot on the vowel, on the contrast between consonant and vowel, and that's really important to keep that. So you have that pop that I talked about before, right? Saw. Okay.
Sorry that.
Sorry that you got. So the next thing is got.
Sorry that you got so freaked out. Okay.
So I don't really. I can see the waves here.
Sorry that you got.
I can really feel that maybe this is the gut right there. I feel like that's it.
That you got so fat that
You got. I think it's this part here. So we're gonna do another keyframe with the G, but the G is gonna have a shape very similar to the U. So let's copy this one. Actually, because this is a new one that I did. And let's hang on. Let's delete this first. Go here, select the U, go here and use this guy, copy selection. So now I copy the same U that I had on frame 16, paste it on 38. So we have the same. And because a consonant is not a vowel, it's going to be different than the U shape. It's going to be higher. Just going to put that higher on the face. Just gonna. So this the fact of building this very simply with just a one stroke is really useful because allows you to just select one lip and just distort one lip only, and it really you probably hear my baby now talking. She's asking for Elmo. She really wants to see Elmo on TV. I'm not gonna worry about this too much right now.
But sometimes, like if you work on a shape like that becomes very different, you would just copy it and put it into the library as well, right?
Hang on a second. I want to get those teeth. There you go. So because this is a consonant, I want the both of the teeth kind of working as well to get that feeling of a G, you know, before the got. What was the question? Sorry.
No, I said, like, for example, because you made like a new shape here that you might use later on, you sometimes select it and put it also into the library, right?
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah, definitely. When I create new, actually all these shapes I created them on the fly when I was working on the dinosaur piece, and as I was creating the shapes, I was saving them here on the library. Let's say.
Is that generally what you do because then you don't waste any shapes, or do you, like, if you would do, like, for example, something like Remedy, where, like, let's say Remedy had a lot of lip sync, right? Would you do a library first, or would you do the same thing where you just do it as you need new shapes?
Yeah, I would do it as I need because the shapes depend so much on the camera angle. I know we don't have cameras in Quill, but in Remedy there were points of view instead of cameras, right? And the point of view is really important. And the audience, I didn't expect the audience to go like this all the time. The audience was normally fixed in one spot, and maybe they do this turn around, they look up and down, but there's a point of view very clear. So the shapes are built to work from that point of view. So I would do it on the fly and then save it, like I'm gonna do it now. Let's say I want this to be on the library now. It's gonna be permanently there now because I'm gonna keep duplicating, right? But what happens if I need this pose for something previous, I can always use the button right here.
Yeah.
But
I'm really
this is
sorry that you got.
so got is gonna be a contrast here, but not a huge contrast. So when something doesn't have a huge contrast, what I do is just duplicate and then distort a little bit, right? And here's she's gonna say got, but it's not a big got. It's a smaller version of it. I'm not gonna make a huge contrast there. Just gonna keep it simple. Got so freaked out. So freaked out.
You got so freaked out.
And I feel like the
Freaked out.
maybe here, but I'm not sure. Actually, maybe it's better to work more detail on the beginning, so because otherwise I'm never gonna finish.
You're at 30 minutes right now.
But let's say I use the same shape here. Hi, guapa, ¿qué tal? Hi, nena.
Is that little Clara?
That's little Clara, yeah.
Oh, that's so cute.
¿Qué tal, nena? ¿Qué tal? ¿Qué tal? Sí. Sí, I'm here. Okay, so yeah, Papa is doing a class right now.
This is so adorable.
Anyway, I'm gonna probably reuse this one for tout. Actually, just let's delete this one and then reuse this guy for this one. Slightly different, so it's not. Tout. And I feel like I want a U shape right there. Do I have a good U shape? I think this is a good U. I thought I saved it, but I didn't. That's okay. Let's use this one. This one, yes. Right here. Taut. Freak taut. Taut. So I try always to flip back and forth to see if it feels right. But anyway, let's go to the beginning and do a little bit more detail. Otherwise, so I'm really sorry, right? So before the U shape, before the R, there's an M. So I'm gonna build an M. I think I have one already there. It's gonna be more or less there, but I'm not completely 100% sure. But it's okay. We can always test it out later. Always flip back and forth to see if it feels right. It feels like the jaw is moving a little too much. Let's make it more about the lips closing and sipping instead of the jaw. The jaw can move down, up to close the mouth. But I'm gonna make it more about the lips kind of getting together. So it feels right. The contrast.
So I noticed you haven't played it back once yet, and that's like because in blocking phase you're pretty confident in hitting the poses first, and then you adjust the timing after, right? If you need to do adjustments, and then later on, once you get more into details with in betweens, you would play back real time much more, right?
Yeah, at the moment I'm not testing it because I haven't done much detail for now.
Yeah.
But yeah, part of it is the experience and the confidence that I have over the years. I know I trust this. I trust my own graph. I trust the graph, the waveform.
Yeah.
I trust all of that stuff, so I go faster. I just go pa 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 pa. And yes, this is like a professional thing that over the years you don't even think about it. You just go for it, you know.
I'm real.
So from the M is gonna transform into U. So right now we have to do a little bit of because in Quill there's no automatic interpolation. We have to manually interpolate, right? So from the M to the U, we're gonna do a new keyframe here.
Do you want to save, by the way?
Oh yeah, good idea. Okay, from here to here, we're gonna do like a very in the middle in between, right? And to do this in between, I'm just gonna duplicate because I'm gonna use the same shape that I had here, just kind of get it closer to a U. So I know this is I'm not doing this with a lot of detail. I just want you to see the process. So see how the M slowly goes into a U shape, and I try to make sure that it feels like a nice transition between these two things. So I can do an even more in between this and this, but this one is gonna be I think closer to the U. So a good way to do this is just go to the next, duplicate, and then this one will become the in between, right? So this one is going to be the in between. So that means that this is not a U yet. So we're going to close the lips a little bit. Okay, it's kind of slowly transforming into the U from the M shape that we had before. And thanks to Grab Tool, you can really do this very quickly and very manually, almost like a stop motion, right? You really carefully building these in betweens, like like if you were doing uh, claymation, and I feel like the U starts even earlier. So just gonna put these frames earlier than the
Really
sound.
sorry that you. I'm.
And then let's do some sort of in between the A and the M, because at the moment it pops a little too much. So I'm just gonna get the A and just close down that mouth. Because this is separate, I'm not worried about the face. I can use a grab tool really big, it doesn't matter. Here it needs a bit of a connection. Okay. Okay. And then we need the E. We need the E sound, so it's gonna be this one. And the E sound is particular because of the white mouth corners. When you pronounce this, when you do this sound with your mouth, the tendency is to separate the mouth corners and your mouth becomes wider. Very important to have a mirror in front of you when you animate to really look at yourself and do the slow motion version and look at your lips and look at the mouth corners, what they do, and really analyze. Okay, I think, yeah, this is a wide mouth shape.
Question about the order of you do things, how you animate things. Does it differ a little bit from how you do it in Maya? For example, is the lip sync the first thing you do before you do the acting poses in Quill? Just because it's frame by frame, and because I'm asking because in Maya I would do the general poses first in the blocking phase, including like the mouth shapes maybe, and then I have like a camera that's locked to the face, so I can do the lip sync at any time.
Yep.
It's a different way, different way you animate in like traditional 3D versus in VR.
No, this is the same way I do it in.
So would you do
I'm doing
lip
this.
sync
I'm
first?
doing this like that now for you guys for the lesson. But I normally, when I did the Quill animation, the dinosaurs, I animated the same way I would do it in Maya. I did the acting of the head first and the acting of the body first, and I had only like a couple of sketch mouth shapes, but nothing defined. And I concentrated on the body physical acting first.
Because that will also determine the mouth shapes sometimes, right?
Yeah, some people work opposite. Some people like to do the mouth shape really detailed first, and then that informs the body acting for them. I guess it depends on the animator. I like to do the body acting first.
Yeah.
Like as a note on that, I am the same as well because my reasoning is going broad from broad to detail, and then do the broad stuff first, and then the detail.
Yeah.
But it's like Daniel said, it depends on the animator as well, like workflows and whatnot. So yeah.
I do broad to detail first. I was just wondering because you don't have like an easy way to constrain the view to, like, you don't have a mouth shape view. Like in Maya, you can constrain it to the head, right?
So I'm doing the end of the word really here, and I'm just gonna.
You're 45 minutes in.
Really sorry.
Okay, so you probably see already what's happening here, and I'm doing key moments first, and I do the in between later. So really, and then in the middle, I'm gonna do another duplicate.
I love how your daughter's so vocal in this lip sync specific lesson.
I know. And then this new duplicate that I'm doing here, I'm gonna make it coincide with the L shape, and the L is a consonant, so the yaw is gonna go slightly up, and then it's gonna go slightly down later. On re li, and then in the L shape, I'm just gonna grab the tongue, which is a separate stroke in Quill, and just move it up so we can see it, and it kind of pops down on the next frame.
Really sorry that.
So that's really, it's really big. Maybe I'm gonna just turn it down a little bit. Maybe I'm gonna have maybe one in between here, between the S and the A. Actually, I'm just gonna do the duplicate here, and this is gonna become the in between, because I wanna favor the A shape. So so that's just the in between that we have here.
I'm really sorry. I'm really really sorry. Sorry that you got that.
And then sorry. So we have a E shape.
Really sorry that.
Actually, I'm going to use this one maybe because this one is a nice transition between the E and the O. So maybe this one is good. It's going to be a good candidate for this part here.
Sorry.
Actually, no. Maybe it's better to just, yeah. I'm going to reuse this one because I don't want a lot of contrast in this area. Sorry that you got. We decided that this area is going to be fast talking. It's going to be less contrast until we get to got, and that's the big contrast. So to avoid contrast, I'm just going to duplicate and reuse the same mouse shape to try to get those sounds with a minimal movement.
Sorry.
So she says that. And then I'm gonna do another keyframe just for the consonant of that. So the very small contrast. Try to minimize.
Sorry that you got. So freaked out.
Would you move the tongue up on the that between the teeth?
Yeah.
Sorry that
It's so fast that you're barely gonna see it.
sorry that you really sorry that you got.
Okay, I think that's the one. that it's gonna be so fast though.
Yeah.
Got, and then I'm just gonna duplicate that. And it's slowly gonna transition to this one. So
You have 10 minutes left.
it's gonna make a transition there. Yeah, something like that. Oh, I need the so. I need the consonant there. So freaked out.
So freaked out.
I think it's there. So maybe let's have one more keyframe where the jaw goes up a little bit. So freaked out.
Freaked out. Okay.
So maybe for freaked, we're gonna use the same shape, just change it slightly so it looks like an F. The F is normally like that, very like the most exaggerated version of the F. But we're gonna do a tiny version of the F because we're talking so fast.
So freaked out.
Actually, the F comes earlier.
So freaked out. Okay.
Well, it's really fast.
I'm really sorry that you got so freaked out. Okay.
And then okay, that's gonna be the biggest mouth after okay.
Okay.
And okay comes here. So let me build the E, which is going to be a nice bigger mouth there. I feel like it's going to be something like that. Yeah, I'm just going to use that one, but bigger, because that's where we really open the mouth more. Okay, okay. Okay. And then to cushion that, what I do is just duplicate and grab tool, and I try to use the grab tool exactly the same way as I used it on the previous frame to make sure it feels right, the deformation. So I try not to change the position of my hand, but really, make small tiny deformations to cushion that.
Okay. 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 And
I'm not gonna do the rest, obviously. I just want to finish on okay.
okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Okay.
And the last thing missing is a K. A K. So the K sound is gonna be
Okay. Okay. Okay.
somewhere there, and I want a big contrast. So let's do a K sound using. Actually, I think this one could be good to use it. And just gonna change it so it looks more like a K. But it's good to use the same one so there's a nice transition between them. But yeah, let's keep those teeth close together for the K. And okay, let's see how it feels like until okay.
I'm really sorry that you got so freaked out, okay? I'm really sorry that you got so freaked out, okay?
Does it look good?
Really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the K is a bit late, right? Like you could probably remove a frame.
Yeah,
before.
once you have the basic structure of your lip sync, you can always tweak things and smooth contrast.
Make sure you save at this point too. Save, Danielle.
Oh yeah. I was gonna do a little bit more transition, and then the thing that I talked about before, the anticipation overshoot. So that would be the next step that I would do, is just really nail down those in betweens, right? So the K is such a big moment. K, I'm gonna really anticipate it a little bit more. So the next frame after this, duplicate, and I'm gonna really push that consonant and make a squash. Squash. And these kind of squashes are also going to affect the rest of the face. We're talking only about mouth today. So I'm exaggerating this squash a little bit more. And then here we have the overshoot. Okay, so we're going to exaggerate this a little bit. And then overshoot and then come back to a more relaxed face. And the mouth corner, I'm going to try to get that circular motion a little bit. So let's see if I get the mouth corner here. Here it's going to be a little bit more narrow. And then slowly it's going to keep getting wider, because we go from A to the E. A. There are two different sounds. And the last sound, the E, is wider on your mouth. You actually widen your mouth corners when you do that sound, right? So let's make that happen at the very end. So slowly widening those mouth corners on the next frame. And the last frame. Well, this is very rough, guys, but at least this, I think, is clear.
I'm really sorry that you got so freaked out, okay? I'm really sorry that you got so freaked out, okay?
Okay.
This may be a little too contrasty now.
So for the dinosaur one, did you actually animate on once, or did you leave some whole frames as well?
I think I did most of it on once.
Wow.
Yeah, like filling those gaps, with transitions and favoring things. And I think some of the stuff I left it on too.
I'm really sorry that you got so freaked out, okay? I'm really sorry that you got so freaked out, okay?
So you can see now where I decided to put the accents, right? You can see where the mouth actually contrasts more, and it feels good with the actual sound. You can really feel that.
I'm really sorry that you got so freaked out, okay?
Any questions?
Super cool, man. Like you had time too. Like it's perfect.
I can't believe I
Like
did it on
11
time.
o'clock. It's
Perfect.
like,
Awesome.
I can't
like
believe
on
I
the
did
money.
on time. That's perfect. That's awesome.
It's actually pretty crazy. It's like 10:59 right now.
It looks really good, Daniel. Really, really cool.
And then as a bonus, so whatever, once you have the mouth working, what I normally do is just work with the eyes and really make sure that they're combined. So where there's a big accent on the mouth, I also try to make the same accent on the eyes. So if you say so, and when we say,
I'm really
actually when she says really, I think really that would be a moment where I would do an accent on the eyes. So here I think I would start with having, I'm just gonna use the same eyes, just kind of raising those lids here, squinting a little bit maybe. And the eyebrows are always connected to whatever the lids are doing. And for this character, it works to do a little bit more cartoony, just kind of squish. So here I would start with a little bit of a squish position. And when she says really, maybe I would go back to the open eye position that we had before. And this way. And maybe do the same one, just kind of.
got so freaked out, okay?
And then the other thing, since we have a little bit more time.
Well, you had time, but it depends if you're gonna go over. But
yeah, it will take 1 minute. Head group is the one that controls the whole thing. So the magic of Quill, that we can do these things puppeteering, which is really cool. So let's try to do it live. Let's see what happens.
People might think you're rigging like you would be doing it in Maya and things like that. So be careful.
No, this is not Maya, man.
I'm really sorry that you got so freaked out, okay?
So how can we act this out? Okay, let's see. Let's get into a good position so my hand is comfortable. I can actually puppeteer it. Okay. I'm good now. I think I'm gonna hit record and let's see. I'm really sorry. Maybe you can do a little head shake.
I'm really sorry that you got so freaked out, okay?
Okay, let's see.
I'm really sorry that you got so freaked out, okay?
Oh wow. Okay.
Nice.
It's so simple. I love it.
Oh my
It
god.
literally takes
This
like
is
five.
this is the kind of
6
thing that you
seconds.
can only do.
I'm really sorry.
Oh, I did something. Okay.
I'm really sorry that you...
I
I've
just
got
had a
enough
brain
problems
fart
without
right
that.
now.
Thank you very much.
I think I have a couple of frames there that when it jumps. So and here is where the capture starts. And that's the problem with the capture. You hit play and then you start capturing, but you can't catch up. You know, it's hard to do these things. So I think I did the same with the dinosaurs. I started mocapping my hand, but then I choose the moment where it actually starts, and then the rest of the frames I'm just gonna delete it.
You can hold Alt, yeah.
Yeah, let's delete those frames, and maybe the first frame can be here. Let's see how it works.
I'm really sorry that you got so freaked out, okay?
Yeah, that's good.
Wow.
I love how the mouth is moving on the top left too, with the head.
Yeah,
Or your
now
library.
yeah, the library is the next step that we're gonna do. So since we have a little bit time, okay, this is the so very easy. Just once we feel like we're done with the animation, just make a selection that is as big as the whole library. Start selecting, hit play.
I'm really sorry that you got so freaked out, okay?
Maybe you have to.
I'm really sorry that
We
you
should
got
do
so
this
freaked out,
before
okay?
the
I'm
mocap.
really sorry that you got so freaked out, okay?
I think all is selected, so just hit delete.
I'm really sorry that you got so freaked out, okay?
And
I like how the I like how the eyes are veering at him.
I know. And the same thing with the eyes is gonna make a selection big enough so we get the whole thing. Hold down the trigger, hit play.
I'm really sorry that you got so freaked out, okay? I'm really...
And hopefully everything is selected. Delete. And now we got the guy.
I'm really sorry that you got so freaked out, okay? I'm really sorry that you got so freaked out, okay? I'm really sorry that you got so freaked out, okay?
And the next thing I would do in this case is animate the eyeballs a little bit. Just make sure that they're, because once I mocap, obviously the eyes are attached to the skull, and they should always have they should always look forward, right? So I would probably do transform key animation on the eyes, maybe, or maybe just frame by frame, whatever is easier in that moment, and just make sure that the eyes are always looking in the same direction. And that's about it. Thanks for sticking with me.
I'm really sorry that you got so freaked out, okay?
And I'm really sorry that you got so freaked out, okay?
we all got so freaked out by your
You all got freaked out. Okay. Thank you so
By your
much.
bad skills.
I'm gonna stop the recording right now. This is the end of the class. Boop.
Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you.
And then